our brains are bursting after all the big ideas we've had to try and get our head around in Brisbane. So next year in Sydney we're going to have a different sort of conference. It's going to be a lot quieter and reflective. That's reflecting Sydney's reputation for being a much calmer place than Brisbane, of course. So the theme of our meeting for 2018 is going to be reflecting on what really matters. And that's going to be a shared theme, because it's going to be a shared conference with the Royal Australian College of Surgeons. And so anaesthetists and surgeons are going to get together, just like we did in Singapore in 2014. And we're going to have a combined meeting in the brand new, very beautiful convention centre that we've got in Sydney at the moment. So.
And how do you expect it's going to go? Like give us the idea of what you feel
well,
it's going to be like. I know reflective.
It's going to be reflective.
Party too.
We're going to be holding a mirror up to our practice. We're going to be very reflective, but also Sydney does have a reputation for being a party city. And I think, despite Brisbane's theme, Sydney is also going to be bigger than big. We're expecting a huge number of delegates. We know that the healthcare industry is very excited about being in the new convention centre. A lot of people have already come up to us and told us that they're looking forward to coming to Sydney. So I'm sure it's going to be a very successful conference, lots of delegates and lots of amazing talks. Of course, the usual array of fantastic speakers internationally. And we'll be able to share speakers with the surgeons. Surgeons are inviting some very interesting speakers in the field of education, for instance. So it can't help but be a success next year's meeting, and I'm sure of that.
Have you got a lot of activities planned? Have you got that planned yet, or are they?
Well, we're going to have, one thing people should know is that the format's going to be different again. It's going to be a Monday to Friday format, and we'll probably have most of the workshops on a huge workshop day on the Monday, very similar to what they did in Brisbane here. They had a massive workshop day on Friday, which was incredibly successful, so we're going to be working hard to be at least as good as Brisbane was this year.
So it's fantastic. Already for Sydney we have lots of international speakers confirmed. The first one is Professor Domino. She's a professor, a chair of anaesthesia and vice chair for research at the University of Washington in Seattle. We have Richard Dutton, who's the ex-Anaesthesia Quality Institute for anaesthesia partners in the US. We also have Fiona Kiernan, who's a young researcher, who's someone who's very interested in economics and is currently doing a PhD in economics and is an anaesthetist in Ireland. So the FPM have announced Dr Leon-Casasola, who is the ex-head of the European Society for Regional Anaesthesia, and Professor Tor Wager, who's the Professor of Psychology and Neuroscience from the University of Colorado in Boulder.
Makes me want to go. What about you, Pat?